Hi. I briefly studied education in college, and here's a paper I found. It's really short that I wrote on liberating the curriculum, I believe is what it was called. Liberating the curriculum. Okay. When I was 6, I remember being taught about Thanksgiving. My first grade teacher had our class make feather headdresses out of construction paper and leather style clothes of the same material. After making Fruit Loop necklaces, doing various Thanksgiving crossword puzzles, and drawing turkeys traced from our hands, we were prepped and ready for the coming holiday. Days and days passed until finally we all came into class with our headdresses and pigtail braids, clothed in paper fringe fashions. The other first grade class was then led into the room with tall paper hats, garnishing mock golden buckles, and paper boots climbing far up their legs. We were all then paired, stereotypical Indians to stereotypical pilgrim, and proceeded to trade our Fruit Loop necklaces for theirs. It was the ultimate American history hallucination, which, at the time, I did not even think for a moment to re examine, and to this day am still not entirely disillusioned from. The other learning event that stands out momentously in my mind is my fifth grade reenactment and appreciation of the work of Christopher Columbus. Each student was allotted fitting role in the 1991 New England Christopher Columbus celebration. I can see it now, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Some of us were cast in a moronic rap song. It was in the year of 1492 that Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Some as King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, praising Columbus and his heroic feats, and others, myself included, played stern historians being interviewed about the whole fiasco. Needless to say, all skits were rehearsed rigorously and videotaped to be played back at us. The incident was probably the most experiential learning experiment I had experienced at the time, and fragments still stick with me. Yet, once again, the entire execution of the portrayal was completely preposterous and bourgeois, reminiscent of the ridiculous mock Thanksgiving performance. I find it disturbing that the most creatively employed, long since remembered learning activities I have participated in the classroom were nothing more than shallow attempts at cultural conditioning. Even more disturbing is the fact that they both promoted racism and white capitalist superiority upon children at such a young age that they do not even necessarily fully understand the concepts of such desecrations. And it is but customary to promote these culturally biased half truths. As Bill Ayers quotes in To Teach, the Journey of a Teacher, as a result of their schooling, students will be able to understand and analyze comparative political and economic systems with an emphasis on the political and economic systems of the United States, understand and analyze events, trends, personalities, and movements shaping the history of the world, the United States, and Illinois, demonstrate a knowledge of the basic concepts of the social sciences of how these help to interpret human behavior, demonstrate a knowledge of world geography with emphasis on that of the United States, apply the skills and knowledge gained in the social sciences to decision making in life situations. Illinois State Board of Education, 1986. And furthermore, the intentions of developing a servile American worker consumer rather than a rich and informed human being are just as prevalent in our traditional schooling experience. Ayers goes on to quote the Illinois State Board of Education further, which states that a curriculum should give examples of persons as consumers, persons as producers, and persons as citizens, recognize the factors influencing a person's relationship with others, e.g., age, emotions, and genetics, distinguish between positive and negative relationships, recognize that the worker provides goods and services, recognize that all forms of work require training. Pages 55 through 57. I am fond of Ayers' idea of liberating the curriculum, chapter 5, because it suggests the promotion of many varying cultural values and traditions, thus eliminating the underwriting notion of white supremacy we find smeared throughout a traditional American classroom. On describing the process of examining the current textbooks, Ayers states, underneath it all, the social studies and literature texts reflected and promoted white supremacy. There were no picture or photographs of African Americans. There were no selections of third world literature. There was throughout an assumed superiority and smug celebration of the status quo. Ayers, page 88. Contrary to this representation of information that we so often find, Ayers attempted to preemptively hinder the culturally narrow perception of children before it developed, simply by exposing them to multiple perceptions and realities. He did this by replacing all of these culturally biased texts with a variety of other cultural representations. I agree that this small change is capable of awakening a much deeper understanding of the world as a whole within a child. However, whether this new awareness will last or eventually be overridden by later dominant views is another question altogether. Although I do not know how to answer such a question, I can only wish that my own early education had been much richer in perception, for I feel that, to this very day, I lack a handle on reality that I could have acquired at a ripe age, and small changes within the arrogance and ignorance of traditional education is the only way to ever make improvements. I mean, I'm sure there are better ways to do this, but I was 21 when I wrote that, and that was the best idea I had at the time. I still think it would help, obviously, to get rid of textbooks like at my first college and my second college, and to just use different forms of literature and memoirs and not just American cultural perceptions, and to try to instill a wider worldview in a child and not culturally condition them. Okay, that's all. Bye bye.